Hello and welcome back to another episode of Football.Fun with Laird. Today I'm going to talk about my current Football.Fun strategy, and honestly, I'm wondering if I'm being a little naive about it. Before I jump in, I just want to be clear, I am an affiliate of Football.Fun, which means I may benefit if you sign up using the referral link that's in the description of this video. Football.Fun has no control or direction over the content of this video or anything else on the channel, but nothing in this video should be considered financial advice. So the strategy has mostly been, instead of chasing kind of price movements day to day, worrying too much about whether prices are going to go up or down, I've just been accumulating shares of the players I think are going to score the best over time. Now, this isn't players who I think will do really well in the long term. I think it's players that I think have the best shot at being at the top 5 of their position every single game week. Basically, my focus is on the fantasy game, earning as many tournament points as I can each tournament, and focusing on the long-term returns instead of these short-term market swings that others seem to be taking advantage of. But basically, it brings me to the question, am I actually taking the right approach, or am I missing the bigger picture here? Like, some people are flipping shares, kind of chasing the hype cycles, immediately selling when somebody has either a bad game or maybe a red card or an injury. And I'm just basically looking at who's going to actually help me win in the fantasy game now and moving forward. So basically what I'm going to dive into in this video is the players that I currently have in my portfolio, why I'm accumulating those shares, why I'm ignoring others and basically trying to ignore the price movements as much as possible, and then looking for some feedback of whether I'm being smart or possibly really dumb. At the end of the day, Football.Fun is a fantasy game. And I know we have this wonderful market that seems very liquid and moves quite a bit for those of you who like trading. But the biggest rewards basically come from the players who score well in the game. And that's where I'm putting my money. Yes, prices go up and down, sometimes pretty dramatically, but chasing that feels kind of like a distraction to me from the actual fantasy game. If I think that there's a specific player that's going to do well over the course of the whole season, I'd rather just focus on adding shares of that player or those players, even if the price drops. I basically just look at that as an opportunity to get more shares because of the lower cost. But also maybe this is where I'm being a bit naive. If the price keeps falling and all of a sudden the rewards aren't as great as they used to be, am I basically just like digging deeper into a hole? Now, I'm not necessarily putting more and more money into the platform. I have taken some profits so that I can kind of reallocate shares of players that I may not want into players that I do. But is that kind of a cycle that's not going to end up working out in the end? I do have a lot of shares of players that I don't necessarily want, and that's because I got in on the founders packs when they first came out, and so I was able to accumulate shares of 97 of the top 100 players when they came out. I've whittled that down to about just over 30 now, and these are the 30 players that I think are going to do the best in the game. Now, I could probably trim it a little more, and maybe there are some players I missed out on because I sold them too early. But I genuinely believe that from the strategy that I'm going to take of accumulating shares of the players that I want the most, that's going to be the best benefit to me long term. So here's where I'm maybe being a bit naive. If the prices keep falling, and it seems like the players I want to buy keep rising, which is a bit frustrating, but if the tournament points and rewards and packs don't make up for falling prices, am I just digging a deeper hole? Am I going to be able to win more over the long term than the prices are falling? Or is this a really good opportunity to accumulate more shares so that literally in the long term, I'll have a solid foundation for all of the shares that I have for each tournament? Now, we have to remember that the number of tournament points that you get in each tournament is based on the percentage of shares that you own of that player, of all of the active shares. And so every time more shares of a player are bought, my percentage goes down. And so winning just means that maybe I am being able to win enough to keep my percentage the same. And if I don't win the same players, then ultimately I could be in a situation where I'm winning less, even if the player ends up in the same spot the following tournament. So I'm going to show a chart here. These are my holdings right now, at least in terms of the percentage of my portfolio. Pedri is my largest holding right now, and part of that reason is because I was able to get a big allocation of Pedri when he was released, and he was really like the only one I could take advantage of during all of the releases that happened over the last month. And so I didn't end up selling any, or maybe very little. So I've held most of my Pedri there, which is why he's on top. But basically, the top players in my portfolio, from a percentage standpoint, are the ones that I think will be the best benefit to me in my portfolio and how I am playing the game. Now, they could move up and down in price. I kind of have different prices where I think they're good buying opportunities. That doesn't mean they are good buying opportunities at those prices, but they're kind of ones that I consider to be at least the prices where I'm like, oh, all right, maybe I will get a little more of that. And the guys who are further down the list that I only have maybe 1% of my portfolio is made up of them, maybe less, are the ones that I'm probably more comfortable cutting at some point or selling now into the market to reallocate to the ones on top. But I like having a more condensed portfolio so that I'm not having to track 100 players, or we're going to have 160 by next week. And so, or maybe in a few weeks, but it's just kind of a core group of players that I think will do really well in this game, as long as they stay fit and their teams continue to play well. So we'd love to hear your feedback of whether I'm feeling like, whether you agree that I have a decent strategy here, or if I'm being naive about how the market is going to play out and whether rewards will pay them off. Feel free to leave a comment in the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and good luck out there.